Do it.
Yeah.
All right, let's do this. This episode of Lords of the Storm is brought to you by our sponsors over at Patreon, where you, yes you, can also support the show. Just head over to patreon.com/Lords of the Storm to become a patron today.
Heroes, gather tribute and earn my favor. What do you say? Are you ready to begin?
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode 113 of Lords of the Storm, the weekly Heroes of the Storm podcast for you, the true Heroes of the Storm. I'm your host, Greg Gizmozord Parker, and I am joined tonight, of course, by the Zord Lords themselves, Mr. Kevin Multizord Ellis and Ryan TBK Zoid. That's the second week in a row I've done that. TBK Zoid. Why can't I say TBK Zord right now? Anyways.
You can't words.
It's kind of hard, to be honest.
It is.
Maybe it's just like the new way I've written this
Words.
intro. I need to change it again. But guess what? We're going to get you caught up on the latest news coming to Heroes, as well as wrap up Week 8 in the HGC and discuss the high-flying robot ninja Genji in this week's Hero of the Week. But first, joining us this week is none other than the Lord of the Wacky Meta, the fellow KC native and one of your HGC casters. It's Mr. Tim Trikslyr Frazier. Trikslyr, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing good, man. Thank you for inviting me to this show. I'm excited to talk about video games. It's always fun to do so. So, thanks again for having me on.
No, thank you for coming. Since we started this podcast and we got into the idea of like, oh my gosh, maybe we can start getting some guests and stuff on here. You're one of the ones we've always wanted to get on. So 113 episodes, but you know what? We did it. We're here. We made it, fam, and it's going to be a good time.
Trick hype.
Trick hype. TBK, how are you doing
And the
tonight
emotes.
as well?
I am doing good. I'm trick hyped. It's good. I've been wanting to get Trikslyr on here for a while.
That's my
I like
fault,
to
totally.
occasionally. It is
You
technically
keep hitting
his
me
fault.
up, and I'm like, dude, I have no idea. Like, one day I'll be free. Finally, the stars
Yeah.
aligned.
We finally got him on a real schedule.
Mm-hmm.
Finally decided to go EU brain, and get in our real schedule. I do enjoy talking to him and sending him occasional pictures of
Casey
Oklahoma
Barbecue?
Joe's, now Kansas City Joe's. Yes.
Man, I miss
Oh, yeah.
Kansas City barbecue. Oh, it's so good.
I didn't know you were a native. That's cool. Did you grow up here?
Yeah, I was there a majority of my life. Like, I think I was down in Arkansas for a little bit, but most of my life was in Missouri until I decided to make the plunge to come to California. And
Right.
I miss the barbecue. I miss the haunted houses. Like,
Yes.
Kansas City does haunted
We
houses.
do have great haunted houses.
Yeah, like no other. I went to a haunted house in California. I went to 5 different haunted houses, and they're literally like just hallways full of like, here's some blood and dark light. Enjoy. And
Yeah.
I was like, wow.
You'd think being so close to Hollywood, they'd be into like the theatrics
Yeah.
of it and be good, but
Nope,
Guess
they're
not.
plebs.
Well, and that's like, yeah, I just moved to Jacksonville a little over a year now. I missed the barbecue. I went to haunted houses as well, went to some around Jacksonville. I went to the Universal Studios stuff. That has nothing on the Kansas City haunted houses.
Really? Wow.
Nothing. So, yeah, it's, I need to get back out there and visit. We'll do it sometime.
It's a weird niche that Kansas City has. Here's your
Right.
barbecue and your haunted houses.
it's really all we have. But whatever, we hold on to it.
Hey, we got the Royals, we got the Chiefs, we got plenty of stuff up there. But Multi, how are you doing as well this evening?
I'm doing quite well, although I do feel a little underdressed for the occasion. For those of you listening into audio, you got to check out Gizmo's getup here. I didn't even know that you owned clothing like that.
Bro, of course I own clothing like this. I like to spiff up every now and then.
I'm glad you finished that. I thought you were gonna say I didn't even know you own clothing.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
For those at home, we need to paint a picture. This guy has like, what is that? Like an egg white silver like suit on with a nice white
Suit
underlying.
vest?
It's shark skin is the term I believe they use
Ugh.
for this style of jacket, or I don't know.
Pure sex appeal. He's got a beard on. His glass rims are just matching the suit. Just, you got to look at it.
You can't even see the
Just,
bow tie underneath the beard. It's pretty
It's
great.
like so old school. It's new school.
It was because well, the trick hype made me want to get like into the caster bow tie meta here. Unfortunately, I hope no one expects this for casting Lords of the Lane, because it's too hot in my room. I have to turn the fan down. It just gets too warm. So
Tim, we're gonna spoil something. Is it true that Kaldor can only wear vests because he just rips through all his jackets? Is that
man? It's not true. It's just he is so ripped. He just looks good at everything, and that's the problem. He's so ripped that like if you even throw like I don't know an Eskimo jacket on, he'll just like bust through it. Dude just built, man, straight up.
Oh, there, I had to turn the fan off. My bad. All right, so let's get into some gaming stuff. What have you guys been up to in Heroes, other Blizzard stuff? Have you been playing other games? Trikslyr, how about you? I know you just got done rocking some Chromie. Have you been messing around with the wacky meta this week, or just kind of Chromie?
So Heroes 2.0 came out last Tuesday, and it's been bringing a lot of players back to the game. It's been a very exciting moment. I feel like people are just all over it, right? Loot boxes, all the fun cosmetics that have come in seem to have really piqued people's interest, and the game seems to reflect that. I was running Hero League a couple weeks before 2.0, and I was feeling a little disappointed. Felt like games weren't really getting the equal skill level that you expect, but these last 2 weeks, it's been all over the place. Like this week in particular, like Heroes has felt really good, and I hope it continues to be like that, because after you watch a full weekend of HEC, like you come home and you just want to play Heroes, and you want to be able to experience what that competitiveness is like. So it's good that people are coming back and gaming it up.
For sure, absolutely. And I wish, it's kind of in Heroes you can never really see the numbers of people online, but it's ever since 2.0 came out, I can just feel the hype for Heroes or people that have been coming back. I know our chat room in particular in game has been blowing up since 2.0, so it's so good to see people back here. For all the loot boxes, crazy skins, and whatnot, and the good games. TBK, I know you've just been playing Heroes this week, so how's your week been going?
I have been playing a lot of Heroes. It's so fun because I've kind of gotten addicted to the little progression tab that shows the closest heroes you have to the next loot box.
Dude, it's been
it's like I finished one and then a new one pops up, and then I have to. It's like, oh, it's so close. I can do that in a game, and then. It's gotten me playing a bunch of new stuff. I've gotten some cool skins. Like the new Zarya skin is literally the best thing in the world. Like that thing's incredible. I did take one tiny break. So my birthday was on Saturday, and I was playing a bunch of Heroes and did some Team League Saturday, which did not go super well. So I was just like, okay, I need to finish. I need to play something else. I need to take a little break. So I was like, oh, okay, I have Life is Strange. I haven't done episode 5 yet. And I was like, I'll play a little bit of it. I started at midnight, and I finished playing episode 5 at 4:30 in the morning. And I had not stayed up that late. Holy crap. I cannot recommend it enough. It's not like super heavy on the gameplay, but it's super heavy on the choices, emotions, like psychological stuff. And episode 5 got super freaking dark. Like it super, super dark so fast. And it made me sad, and it made me question things. And it was crazy.
Check this out.
And I teared up a little bit at the end because I was just like, no, but yes. So I can't say anything or else it'll spoil it. Tim, I think you streamed this all a little bit ago, didn't you?
Yeah.
All 5 episodes?
It's an incredible game. Like, seriously, anyone that wants to go through a journey and be a teenage girl for, like, 7 hours, like, that's the game for you. Yeah, exactly, right?
The artwork is amazing in it as well.
There's lots of drama, lots of angst. It's good.
Okay. Multi, how about you?
I really liked it. So that was, yeah, in that.
Okay.
There you go. Pretty solid. I've been doing well. I was going to say the same thing as you there, TBK. It seems like I want to farm out my next loot chest every chance I get. Like, I was thinking about pushing a little bit of Hero League. But you know what? I'm that much closer to my next chest on Probius. You know how it goes. So I've actually been just playing a smorgasbord of characters and hopping around. So it's been pretty good. And I have a little bit more free time to play heroes now that I finally hit that life goal of hitting Legend in Hearthstone for the first time last month.
Nice.
Congrats.
Applause.
Thank you. Knocked that one out there. And I also have one more announcement that I kind of want to throw at the top of the show here. A lot of you may have caught on to the fact that I wasn't super hyped about like the BlizzCon ticket sales and that sort of thing this time of year around. I'm of course hyped for BlizzCon, but I myself will not be going because my wife and I are having a child and its due date is November 8th.
Nice.
Woo, baby
Congratulations.
Yes, another baby Zord.
So yeah.
Are you going to name it Trikslyr?
Oh, of course, yeah.
Awesome.
We were not as sure on our male name, so Trikslyr, that does work. Can I call him Tricky for short? Or
Yeah.
Trikslyr.
Okay.
Very cool. Congratulations, man. That's super awesome. Very cool.
Yeah, thank you.
Always good to welcome a new Zord to the fam. All right. So for myself here, I've been putting off getting into Hero League with Heroes 2.0 coming out and the mega bundles. I was like, you know what? I'm going to do this experiment that I said I was going to do a long time ago. And that is create an alt account and kind of see if, because when I started this game, I was god awful and wanted to test out to see kind of if the MMR hell, which I'm sure I still just suck, but I want the numbers to prove it. But holy cow, they've actually, so the tutorials at the beginning are different and much better than they were when the game launched. And the first 5 games on Cursed Hollow in the beginner games are an experience. 3 of those 5 games, I did not see an enemy hero. It was just people literally lined up like an AI bot match, and it was just a push bot race to the core. So I don't know if that is like a lot of people just playing Smurfs trying to get through those games or what, but it's interesting. And also makes me feel real good on Genji because they just don't know how to handle him down there right now. So
Dirty Smurfer.
Yeah, that's me. I'm just trying to level some heroes up. I got into heroes I haven't played in a long time, like Greymane and Artanis. So I'm super excited to bring those back over to my main account's arsenal as well. But lots of stuff going on in there. Let's go ahead and before we get into the store sales and stuff like that, Trick, I'm sure most of the people who are listening to the show, people who listen to Heroes podcasts typically follow HGC and stuff, of course. They're wanting to get as much out of Heroes as they can. However, just in case somebody doesn't watch the HGC or, they're just getting into Heroes, things like that, why don't you kind of take us on a journey of kind of how you got into gaming, where did your gaming career start out, and how did you make your way to Heroes and now to HGC casting?
Oh, man. That's a long story. We'll try to shorten it up. So in my young days, when I was a young kiddo with an Xbox 360, I started playing Halo semi-professionally. And then when Halo 3 came out, I actually started playing Halo at the professional level as much as I could. Played that for a couple years. Didn't do anything too crazy. I got top 24 in a couple of events and did compete against some of the best, but never actually made major money off of it. And then when Halo Reach came out, we decided that multiplayer Halo wasn't as good, so I started looking towards other games. Yeah, it just didn't work as much. Gosh, that DMR with the bloom was the worst thing that could ever happen to Halo. Jesus, it still tilts me. So I was actually playing Halo under the MLG banner, because that's where most of the gaming was back then. Mm-hmm. And the next game they looked at was StarCraft 2. So I started playing StarCraft 2, and about a month in, I decided that I sucked at it like everyone else that is not Korean. And watched Husky Skullcraft, saw him casting a lot, and then I just started casting in my free time. Managed to be able to get a job in San Francisco after a couple of years of doing that under the IPL banner. IPL was under IGN, and then after I joined that, 2 months later it went under, and Blizzard liked our stuff so much that they actually picked us up, became a community manager, and it's kind of cast here and there, and finally, to now, super short story, the opportunity came up that I could cast HGC, which was a program that Heroes was trying to pull out for this year, and I applied for it and luckily got it. And so now I get to cast Europe every Friday through Sunday where we watch literally the best players in Europe compete, and it's freaking awesome.
Yeah, for sure. And we're super stoked to be able to watch you cast that and having, competitive heroes pretty much every week now since the HGC started has been absolutely incredible.
It's been so
Before
good.
it was like, oh man, there's just not enough competitive heroes to watch. Now it's like, oh man, I have to figure out how I'm going to watch all this competitive heroes this week. So
Right? Yes.
Yep.
And it's cool too, because like you get to now actually watch your favorite teams every single week and actually grow with them, which is probably the best part. Is like the actual foundation for heroes to have a competitive team and for them to constantly have games has been instrumental, I think, for putting down a foundation. And I hope that it continues for many years because it's such a cool league.
it is.
Yeah, just the fact that it's scheduled. I think that's
Yeah.
the biggest thing. I can go to a website, I can look up the week, and I can see, oh, okay, Dignitas is playing at this time against this team. I want to make sure that I free schedule to watch that. And that was
Yeah.
so hard to do before because it was just, I mean, let's be honest, the stuff was not announced super early.
Yeah.
in the
Previously.
old system. And so this is just like a huge breath of fresh air this season.
Well, that
Yeah,
and
honestly, it's.
Go
I
ahead.
was just gonna say it's easier to just follow the story now, like over the course of weeks too. You can just kind of see how the teams unfold and get to know the players better, even on an individual level. So I've just found it a lot easier to follow and enjoy for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, TBK, the website that they redid when HGC came out has been amazing because not only did they not announce stuff super far ahead of time, after they did announce it, it was still kind of hard to find it, or if you missed the games, to find updates on it. So just having that streamlined on one site now has been absolutely incredible and easy
and
to
I
follow other
think-
regions as well.
I think and I hope soon that we're going to be getting like the team profiles and then
Yeah.
hopefully individual player profiles on that website too, because that is the big thing that website is missing right now. Because I want to go in and I want to see, okay, did Zuna feed this week? Like,
Jesus.
man, terrible. But yeah, just like, what is how many lives did Bakery save? Like, did
Yeah, all the stats.
did Darkmock just
Yeah,
destroy
that'd be cool.
everything again on Greymane? Like, just all those individual stats are really, really key, especially for sites do like fantasy leagues and stuff like that. Because I really want to get into those type of things. And
Small
so
details
once
matter. They really
yeah,
do.
they do. And so once we get some more official statistics and some cool, profiles and then team profiles overall, beyond just win and loss records, I think that gets us closer to sports, right? Like
Yeah.
baseball, football, you've got stats for literally everything. And people love that. So let's just keep moving in that direction. And
Yeah, so like I can't reveal anything obviously, but they mentioned in the past that they're working on stuff like that in the future, and it should be coming. And I've seen some stuff, and it gets me very excited. So
Yeah.
be ready for it.
Cool.
They're constantly improving it week after week.
And we've kind of seen some like teaser-ish type stuff to what they can do with stats when it comes to Heroes of the Dorms when you're filling out your bracket, kind of clicking on the information. So that's not super in depth, but it's nice to be able to see that stuff. In regards to just if we're looking for statistical stuff going to hot slogs. All right. Well, let's go ahead and hop into the show here, the main portion of the show. TBK, why don't you go ahead and tell us what we got going on in the store sales this week?
So this is the first week of the new format. So from what I'm gauging, and I'm assuming this is probably going to be the format from here on out. So there's 2 hero sales from gems. So this week, Variant and Tyrael are on sale for $375 and $250 gems respectively. And so it sounds like they're going to have 2 heroes on sale for gems, and then they're going to put several skins and a few mounts on sale for gems, and then they'll move back to where they can be crafted and stuff. And so this week's gem sales for skins: the Crimson Legion's Wrath Sonya, that's a mouthful, Grunty Murky, Twilight Shogun Artanis, Amber Little Ragnaros. So if you're really jonesing for any of those skins but don't have the shards for it, you can pick those up this week with gems, as well as the Pale Horse. And I don't know, was it Calaris posted something about the Pale Horse, and it just every time I read that now, it just flashes up where the screen just gets closer and closer to the pale horse. Oh, the pale horse. Yeah, it's but if you want it for gems, it's there. You can also get the Savage Butcher's Beast and the Neon Spectre Phantom mount.
Okay. Hey,
Yeah,
you know, they did make the horses look prettier, so let's give the pale horse a shot here. And I'm just kidding.
Nothing competes with Sparkle Pony.
I
Nothing.
instantly bought that so I could get that on my alt account as well. It's a good mount. It really is.
It's a good mount.
It's a pretty pony.
I'm a little surprised by this, honestly. I expected a few, with as many cosmetics and stuff as they have now, I expected more. I think I expected more to go on gem sale per week.
Now that they're selling it like by tint and
yeah,
stuff
now that
too?
they're selling it by tint, because there's 4 skins and 3 mounts and just 2 heroes that have, and the heroes is fine. Yeah, discounts, that's great, but I expected, with as many things as we have now, a few more than 4 skins and 3 mounts to go on featured for gems. It seems a little low.
Yeah, it
just
does.
in my
well,
opinion.
and this first week, I don't know. Well, maybe they're testing out the water.
So I'm giving feedback.
For sure.
There you go.
I am ready to see some more Ragnaros skins, though. Hopefully, or it's at least some different
Snowy
tints.
Ragnaros.
At least some different tints besides like the orange, red, and yellow. Like, let's get away from the fire. Let's get a Fel Ragnaros.
But
skin
he's
tint in
made
there
of
or something.
fire, dude.
But it could be Fel Fire, you know?
Yeah,
That's
okay.
like, that could have been a thing there. I don't know. And I still need, with the murky skin that's in here, I want I don't want to steal all the credit. John, our business upfront party and bat murky, with a little briefcase, some glasses on, a suit, a mullet, to run around. And like he throws his briefcase down for his pufferfish, and that explodes and papers come out. Or like for Octograb, you put him in an office chair and tie him up.
I would buy that.
It would
Sit
be
them down and
amazing.
talk to them.
I would buy that.
It'd be absolutely incredible. All right, Multi, what do we got for the free rotation this week?
Oh, let's see. We've got Diablo, Jaina, Muradin, Nazebo, Ragnaros, Raynor, Rhaegar, Sonya, Uther, Varian. I'm running out of breath. Tassadar at account level 5, Zul at 10, Falstad at 15, and interestingly, Tyrande at account level 20. I guess now accounting for the different ways that account levels scale up. Easier to hit 20 these days.
Yep.
It is. All right. Well, let's go ahead and hop on into the news. Okay, first up this week, Nexus Challenge 2.0. It is week 2 out right now. And the rewards this week are the Busan Police Hovercycle mount and the Officer Diva skin in Overwatch. The mount for heroes here. And I'm still...
You got those already, Trick?
Which ones? The Overwatch ones? Yeah, I actually grabbed them today, actually.
Nice.
So we got the Officer Diva skin and that little bicycle. I think it gives you 3 tints, actually, too, which is pretty nice. I'll have to figure out what looks good with it and what doesn't.
Yeah, the Orochi Hovercycle mount from week 1 was 6 tints, which was insane.
Mm-hmm.
That was crazy.
I still want, now that we have this police hovercycle mount, I really want some police skins in the game.
Yeah.
To go with it, yeah.
You see that one on Reddit, the SWAT Johanna? That one looks pretty
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Looks so good.
Would use
this?
Yes.
Beside, I mean, the only really, I guess we have we have robot themes. We got some. Is Lily the only sports theme?
No, we've got like Li Ming doing volleyball.
Striker Li Ming.
Oh,
we
Li
got
Ming,
Asma
that's what I meant.
Dunk. We got the
Asma Dunk,
cheerleader
that's true.
Kerrigan.
But like those are cool skin themes. But like this mount, like I want a team all wearing police skins rolling up on this mount would be incredible.
All 5?
All 5.
Yeah.
All the time.
So, unfortunately, though, this week does not come without its share of controversy.
Mm-hmm.
And this is actually literally like 3/4 of the Hero subreddit right now is people talking about how Overwatch players are now coming in and throwing their 5 games as quickly as possible.
Oh, wow.
Just to get the Officer Diva skin.
I wonder if that's what I've been dealing with in the new player games. People
Maybe.
just
Could be.
going and pushing bot. But it's, yeah, I mean, it's gonna, happen, unfortunately. But I don't. I know
I
some
think
people
there is
are
a
wanting
way
it-
around it.
the wins.
I think there is a way around it. And I think because right now they changed it this week because you used to be able to do these in AI, but week 2 starts out you can only do quick match unranked or ranked.
Right.
And so it's just a straight play 5. And so a lot of people are talking, and I completely agree. If you change this to something like win 3 instead of play 5,
And you have to actually try.
and you actually have to try, that may help avoid behavior like this.
At
I
least
don't
this
know.
behavior should be temporary. I mean, if you're hardcore enough that you want that skin right now, that you're going to just go in and throw games, I think you'd probably be done in the first couple days, or at least
Well,
the first week. So
The problem is we've got 2 more weeks of this.
yeah,
beyond
people could
that.
catch up later. That's a good
I
point.
mean, it should be over soon enough. Like, I think a lot of people are missing the overall picture, and that's you're getting people that are in Overwatch, which is a big player base, to come check out Heroes. And, like,
Yeah.
Heroes is one of those games that, like, 3 or 5 games and you play it, suddenly you're hooked because it's that fun, right? Like, even if 15% of the people that come over here and try hard and throw or whatever still try the game out and stay around, it's good for Heroes. Like, maybe it could be a little bit better. I think the best execution that I've heard of was play 10 games, but every win counts as 3. Like, that's a really cool idea
okay.
that could work.
Yeah.
That way it incentivizes people to actually try, and then that would actually incentivize them to actually try the game. But overall, like, this quest system is super cool, and I actually liked it. The first week was like, all right, here's AI. Try our game out. You get some Genji stuff. And the next system is, here's quick match unranked and ranked. You're going to have to play PvP, so let's go ahead and just waddle your way through it. It's very kiddie pool-ish, but it gets people to bite, and I think that's pretty important. Like, I'm okay with it. And I know people are upset about it, and I wish they'd be a little bit more understanding, because obviously the execution's up there, but the heart is a really good idea, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a way to get people to jump in and experience, because you can't really experience. And I mean, I totally get it from Blizzard's standpoint, and I agree, because in a lot of ways, I don't agree with people throwing games just to get stuff, but I do agree with you can't really get a good idea of how this game is in AI.
Yeah,
you really need to
can't.
play this game in quick match, in unranked, to really get a solid idea of how this game plays.
Well, and that's the problem
what
with
I assume they're trying.
Yeah, and that was the problem with the first time they rolled this out with just the Oni Genji, like the first, instance, Nexus Challenge 1.0, if you will. You'd have some hardcore Overwatch people who would just get in there and say, I just pushed some cores down in AI.
Yeah.
Can't have been that fun for them.
No, but I do agree with. I don't like the solid, like, you have to get 3 win things, but I do like the combination of maybe 10 a win counting as 3, because I've been playing Heroes since Alpha now. I have nights where I come on and it's just awful, and I get like 8 losses in a row. And of course, if these people are coming from Overwatch, like, if they come in and they have a night like that, it's just gonna be like, oh, not worth it. So just getting them into the game is super important, and yeah, it's good stuff here. One thing I want to talk about that I was watching on the streams here was the Try Hard for Good, actually, which we forgot to put in the notes here. That stuff. So I hadn't checked out one of those streams. We had talked about last week about how whoever came up with that idea is genius. But I went to one of the streams. There was like 3,800, 4,000 people in it. Obviously, all League fans who it went through interesting stages. I was watching Dyrus of the League fans trashing Heroes, and then all of a sudden you'd see like piqued interest. So like, oh, I didn't know that happened in Heroes, or like, wait, it's team levels, it's not individual hero levels, and kind of piqued some interest there. So it seems to be working, I think, but I don't know. Again, just a brilliant idea, really cool all around.
I agree. I've been watching Skara actually a lot this week because I really like his style. He's super chill, and he seems super like actually interested in learning.
Yeah,
as he
and
goes.
Dunk killed it on the coaching.
He
with him, by the
did.
way. Like, Dunk,
sure.
I
is
thought
a
they were the best
god.
pair.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I love KO, and she was awesome too. Just like, Dunk killed it, and Skara was just there to receive all the information. Like, that was a really cool program. I'm glad that he did that, actually.
Yeah,
Awesome.
and it's cool seeing them try, and for the first time seeing some of the unique ones like Medivh.
Oh yeah.
Like Skara got so pumped when we started playing Medivh, and like, I'm invulnerable as a bird? What? What? That the portal cast range is way further than I thought it was. Because he kept casting these really tiny portals, just like half the range. It was hilarious. The first time, and this was on Reddit, the first time he saw Ragnaros use his trait, his molten core, he just freaks out on stream. Like, what is this? Because there's just a lot of stuff that happens in Heroes that doesn't or really can't happen in League.
Yeah, that's the best part of it. Is like these are players that were at the top of their game when it came to League of Legends in their prime years, and they come over and like that skill naturally translates over, but they see the little things and the small details that jump out just put a smile on your face, right? Like Heroes is such a well-designed game, and it's good to get it in front of more people.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah, especially now that it's in a much better spot than it was at launch. And I think that's the big thing about 2.0, right? Is that, hey guys, check this out. This is way different than it was a year ago or a year and a half ago when it first came out, and you wrote it off because of bugs or because of lack of features or whatever.
Yeah, I can get that. So speaking of getting new eyes on the game and some new players in here, Blizzard has released a new core concepts to help new players out. No, this is not core concepts from the core. This is core concepts from Blizzard here. And some really interesting stuff. We'll have the link in here that you can check it out. And I have not actually, because I'm not a new player at this point, checked out all the stuff that they have. I believe they have some videos as well as just some kind of tips and tricks for all the new players there.
They explain some of the unique heroes, like Abathur, Cho'Gall, Vikings, like how are these different, team leveling, the talent system, the dynamic battlegrounds, basically all the stuff that makes Heroes, because you've got Heroes as a MOBA, but then it's like, here's all the stuff that makes it unique MOBA. And here's kind of how everything works, because this is different than any of the other games out there.
Well, yeah, and it seems like it's a way to translate this game into a language that maybe a League player could understand. Just quickly like see the differences and then go from there.
Yeah.
I like it.
Speaking of unique battlegrounds, and of course, every time a new map comes out, they do the rotations here. Hanamura, I think there should be like a player level on before that map unlocks for you, kind of like new players they have in your first 5 games are on Cursed Hollows. Like every game I've played after that, it's like 50% of them on Hanamura, and that is a mess to try and herd new players around. It's like, just follow my pings, guys, please. Overall, I love the map. I know a lot of people have kind of been down on it, but I do think as the weeks go on, once we see that in HGC, see how players, the correct rotations on it, people are really going to like it. I love that map. And I think it's what?
That's a good question. I think you bring up.
It is.
Tim, do you know if we're getting a new map rotation the second half after the mid-season brawl?
So I actually don't know if any details have been shared on that, so I'll respond back with no comment. However, what I will say is that the pro players do have the rights to get hero pool set up. Like the hero pool that is currently in the HCC was chosen by the pro players, so that feedback is listened to.
Okay,
and
so those maps are all chosen by them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
So
that's good.
It would make sense. I was just always assuming that we would get some sort of a new map rotation again the second half, but like you said, that's not been confirmed or denied yet.
You'll have to wait for details from official sources. It's the PR response.
All right, guys. Most importantly, the most important thing you are going to hear on this show this week, Lords of the Lane 6, coming up this Sunday, May 7th at 2 p.m. Central Daylight Time. This, of course, again, our 2v2 mid lane tournament. Super unique. You haven't played anything in the game like this, I promise you. And if you like wacky meta, it's too bad, Trikslyr, you're going to have to be some casting, because this would be the tournament for you.
Oh man.
Oh yeah.
It's so crazy, and we haven't had one of these in a while. So of course, with all the new heroes out, we're going to see some crazy stuff, crazy talent picks that you never see in the 5v5. So still got some time to sign up for that. That will be on Challenge, and we will have the link. And plus, it's so much easier to just go find one other person to sign up with. You don't have to put a full team together. Just if you have a full team you play with, well then you got 2 teams. You got 2.5 teams. Grab
2.5,
another person.
yeah, there you go.
got
Two
3.
teams and then one person who's left out.
For sure.
That's
Yeah,
cool.
just cut out your worst player and ignore them, actually forever, and you'll be fine.
And if somebody sleeps through their match, like Shot did one time, then you got an extra person that can hop on and play for you. No, yeah, I don't know.
It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. It's always a lot of fun. We'll be casting it, select games as well as we move through. It's just all best of ones up until the final, just for time's sake, because we have been. This is the 6th one we're doing, and so we've been kind of experimenting as we've gone along. And I think the first one we had probably close to 16 teams. And they were all the stuff was best of 3s, and it was like an 8-hour experience. And we're like, we can't do this again. So it just lasts a few hours. There's some Amazon gift cards up for the top teams that come out of it, and it's a lot of fun.
Yep, and again, that was at challenge.com. That's with an O / Lords of the Lane 6, which is the number for you audio folks out there. But yeah, come check it out. It's usually a good time.
Yes. Also, some sad news when it comes to Diva. We were trying to predict some stuff.
Cloakin' breaking hearts.
Yeah, potentially last week. Cloakin, Kevin Johnson came out this week. He said he just wants to quell the notion allies will not be able to ride on Diva. So no mini medivac, anything like that.
But they said to watch for abilities in the video.
I know. Yeah. I don't know. It's sad, but I'm still, I'm excited for Diva. She's not a hero I play a bunch in Overwatch, but getting more tanks in here will always be good. Trikslyr, what's your opinions on Diva here? Are you excited for her?
I mean, I love her in Overwatch. She's broken in Overwatch, dude. Like, she got a buff. I remember I was playing her originally before she got buffed, and then she got buffed, and I was like, why would you do this? This character is insane. So she became part of the staple meta, and then it wound up being like triple tank. But nonetheless, her coming into heroes is always good. Like, I personally just enjoy new heroes when they come in because of new mechanics. I know a lot of people are a little on the upset side that it's an Overwatch character, because I don't know what it is, but for some reason people are just biased against Overwatch because it hasn't been around for so long.
Yeah.
But every time a new hero comes in, it's exciting for me because that's one hero versus X how many heroes are in the game, and you get to learn those matchups and then learn how they fit in a team, and that's exciting. So I'm pumped.
Cool.
Plus, we can have a full Overwatch team now.
Yeah.
It wasn't possible before. This is our 5th Overwatch character.
Now
Let's make it happen.
We can have a full Overwatch team. Now we just need a full police skin Overwatch team.
And then your game is complete.
I will keep pushing for that. Keep pushing for that. So some interesting marketing videos.
Oh man.
Question mark, appropriately put. There's one on Facebook, and Spencer pointed this out to me.
There's supposed to be 2 of them.
Yeah.
There's a
there are
Sonya
2
one and a Li Ming one, and I literally could not find the link. I've had people tweet at me and say, "Did you see the new Sonya video?" But I literally cannot find the link to it. I would not have found this one. I would not have found this one if Spencer hadn't linked it to us.
Oh, did you not see the Sonya one?
No, I haven't seen it either. I can't find it.
It's like a Twitch ad. I saw it yesterday because I was like, what the? That actually came out? I played that game. I was watching another stream, and it's literally like this guy walks in, and it's like these 2 guys that are like roommates or something. A guy walks in and finds a red hair sitting on the couch, and he picks up the red hair, and he looks at his friend, and he's like, really? A redhead? And then it goes to the guy playing Sonya or whatever, in the middle of Heroes. It's the most awkward commercial I've ever saw in my life.
Super awkward and creepy.
Yeah, it was super awkward.
Because it starts off has your ADC been distant lately? So clearly they're trying to poach from the League of Legends crowd and stuff. But at the same time, do we want Heroes to seem like it's the seedy back alley option among these games? I kind of want Heroes to be an industry leading MOBA. Not the one that you would cheat on League of Legends with. You know what I mean?
The Li Ming one is only slightly less awkward.
It is slightly less awkward, but still awkward.
I don't know, we'll link this in chat too, and on the show notes. But I don't know. I don't like these type of commercials because they don't show any gameplay or anything.
Okay, like, and you gotta remember, like, it's not aimed at people that are on the older side. Like, I would say 25 up. Like, it's aimed at teenagers and stuff. People like to watch their stuff in live action. Like, think the first time you saw a Kingdom Hearts cinematic, or like Square Enix cinematic for Final Fantasy X, like, it gets you hyped as a kid, right? So live action, like, I don't know, it kind of speaks to those youngins, those kids, back when we were younger.
Well,
I can agree, kind of, Tim, but at the same time, these are pretty awkward.
Yeah, I think Blizzard just in general is dabbling. Like, they did it for Hearthstone, like.
Oh, yeah, those Hearthstone ones were bad. The guys fighting over the guacamole.
But it made you smirk, right? And you're like, okay, that's that game. Like, I don't know, think of Clash of Clans. Like, everyone's going to this like high budget real action shows, and it makes people like look at it and go, ugh, that's bad. But I'll check out the game, and that's good, right?
Yeah,
because then they'll go check out the game.
As long as I'd be interested to see what people who didn't know what the game was and saw those, because as a player of these games, I smirk at them because it's super corny. But I just wonder if that has the same effect, and I'm sure it probably does. Blizzard's a big company. They have studied in their marketing and whatnot, and what works, what doesn't. But it is definitely interesting and out there. If you guys want to check it out, I did put one of the links in there. Again, I can't find the Sonya one, so we'll try and find that here. Let's go ahead, since we got Trick here, and hop into the HGC this week from Week 8. TPK, take us through Week 8 recap.
Okay, so before we jump into Week 8, this is something that's super exciting that MilkFat, the head of Heroes esports franchise, announced on Twitter not too long ago, and they put out a big blog post about it later. So there's, especially this last week, with the pros playing on the Probius patch so long, and then us already being on the Genji patch, there is a lot of talk about we're just going to the Cassia patch now. Like, things are so far behind. It's not the same meta. Picks and bans aren't quite the same, that type of thing. And so after a lot of talk and a lot of discussion, he came out and said, due to community and pro player feedback, so apparently this was kind of mirrored on the pro side as well, HGC is actually going to be skipping the Cassia patch. And they're going to be going directly to the Heroes 2.0 patch, which is the Genji patch, beginning this weekend. Cassia is going to... The what?
Uther patch, you mean?
Yes. Right. The Nuther patch. Because Genji's not going to be available for play this first week. Uther will be. So I'm really, really excited to see how teams end up using him. Cassia is going to be available, and then Genji is going to be banned for 1 week and then available the week after,
which isn't a long wait for Genji either.
No, it's not.
Really cool.
It's awesome. I'm glad that they're communicating with the pro players to kind of see what they want here, because that's obviously it's them playing the game. So as long as they're all on board with it and wanting to kind of stay up to date, because I imagine they have their tournament servers and stuff they can play on, but they also do Team League, Hero League grinding. So hopping back and forth between such a drastic difference cannot be an easy thing to do.
Yeah, it's pretty split. And I imagine, Trick, from a caster perspective too, it can probably be sometimes confusing trying to remember from current patch and like the older patch you're playing on, changes that happened or haven't happened yet. And I don't know, is that confusing sometimes when you're that far back?
It definitely can be slightly confusing. In fact, it gets to the point now where I don't even touch the beta that much. I play the new hero, figure out their mechanics, and then I'm done playing it because I don't want to get those ideas in my head because I don't want to miscast, right? Point. The moment you miscast, Twitch chat just blows up on you. This caster knows nothing. So, yeah, I try to not play betas, and this just makes it much easier for me. If we stay on the liver side, it allows me to cast correctly because I'm playing the game. I'm in it as much as I can. I think it's probably my greatest strength as a caster is like I actually play the game as much as I can. So this being update is great. I think it'll be good for the viewers too. Everyone wants to watch the pros play the patch that they're currently on. They want to know what everyone's drafting, what's the hero to get rid of, what's broken, what's not broken. And when you're watching a patch that's 3 to 4 weeks old, it's not the same game you're playing, so you're not as interested.
Yeah, it's like, why are they playing ETC so much?
right.
He's not that good right now.
And unfortunately,
Yes.
people don't realize it's a different patch, and they still try and do that. And it
Sometimes,
doesn't
and
work.
then that's the thing. Like, they did a good job putting like what the patch was on the top of the screen. They did add
For
that,
sure.
which is nice, but not everybody notices that, right?
Yeah.
And so if you don't pay that much attention, you wouldn't necessarily even know they weren't on the latest. So I really like this. I hope to see this format moving forward where they're like 1 week behind, and then they just ban any hero or heroes that they don't want played up until a certain point if they need to figure out bugs. And usually a week, I would say, is a pretty decent time frame for any major bug to be found.
Yeah, if there was anything
It doesn't
really
always happen,
game-breaking.
but yeah, most game breaking stuff will show up within a week.
Mhm.
And so then they can either make the decision to hold on the older patch one more week, or a hotfix comes out or something like that to fix it. So I think overall this is going to be just a huge boon, and this kind of catches us up with a lot of the other games, because I know League does 1 week back for patches. Dota, I think, does live patches for their tournaments with just stuff disabled if they need to. So I really like the changes. I think it's going to help the overall viewer experience and the pro experience just from a practice perspective as well. Okay, Trick, we got you here. It's time to talk. And then we promised our EU, because we got a lot of EU listeners. And so we promised our EU people we're going to do some EU deep dive, because NA is definitely a very volatile
That's one way to put it.
Yeah.
region right now. We have lower tier teams beating higher tier teams on the regular, other than maybe Tempo Storm, and we even saw Tempo Storm falter a little bit this last weekend, and so it's kind of up in the air. But EU has actually been pretty stable
Yeah.
for the most part. So let's first talk about how's it been to transition to full-time EU casting.
It was a journey. The first week that I was announced as a caster, there was a lot of doubt, and I think it was warranted and fair, especially where I was coming from. I watched a lot of North America, and I studied as much as I could when I was working at Blizzard, because it was in my time zone. Europe is
Sure.
a little bit on the early side. Normally, I don't know if you guys work in corporate business or not, but normally when you wake up and you go to job in the morning, the first 3 hours is literally meetings and working on email. So I just didn't have time to watch as much Europe as I wanted to. So I was a little bit scared going into it that I wouldn't be able to deliver. I did like 5 weeks of studying. Just every day I'd watch 2 to 3 hours of VODs, replays, whatever I can get my hands on to try and get the players down. So I think I came out a little bit rough on the gates. But now that I've been casting in Europe for about 8 to 9 weeks, I'm starting to really get my stride. And I'm enjoying it. I'm hoping by June, which was my original goal, that I become a respected caster in the Europe scene.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
As someone that people actually look forward to casting and believes that I say the right things, or at least can respect my opinion when I say stuff, because that was one of the major things. I'm the wacky meta guy, so if I go into EU and I don't understand their draft, their meta, and I come in with a crappy idea or a random idea, like, people will just look at me as a joke, right? So it's been a journey that I have to shout out Kalaris for. Like, Kalaris in the first few weeks, he came in and filled in for Caldor because there was Visha issues, and he worked with me every single day, like 1 or 2 things of like, here's a mistake that you're doing, here's what we can do to get better, let's build this up as a team. And so we built a lot of camaraderie. And then when Caldor came out, we've been working just as hard too.
Mhm.
And I think the casting has been as great as it can be, and we're going to continue to evolve. You know, I've really been enjoying it.
Yeah,
For sure.
I'm not gonna lie. I love Caldor as a caster, but I was a little sad when we lost the Trikslyr Kalaris.
That's the thing with casting, though.
It works
It's like-
so well.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
I
the thing
love
with
it.
casting, though, is like the viewer has their expectation of what they want to see. And I think with Claris and I, we had kind of a goofball fun mentality that's happening, but Caldor and I now bring a little bit more of a serious analytical
Mhm.
role where there's
Yeah,
moments
yeah.
like, this is epic, this is hype, we need to focus on this. It's just, you know, that's one of my favorite things about casting with different people, that you get to find that niche that you guys are good at as a pair. it's almost this weird like dance, if you will. Like I the non PG-13 way I explain it is it's kind of like French kissing. Like there's some give and take going on a little bit here and there, and that's super deep in. So don't like take that too hard. But, like, it gives you a sense of what it's like.
I see some
different partners, different things.
Some fan art of
like
Caldor trick French kissing.
All right. Well, I regret saying that. I'm going to leave the show now. I regret everything. But there's a lot of give and take, and it's cool to explore that. I've been really enjoying it. These last 4 or 5 months have probably been the favorite thing I've ever done in esports. So
that's awesome. And I mean, you gotta. It's awesome when you can get to the point where you get to do what you love.
Yeah,
which is really cool. And I was. To be perfectly honest, I was a little worried when before Caldor came that you guys' styles wouldn't be compatible, because I know personality-wise the you and Caleres had just been working so well, and that's what people were used to for the first many more weeks than you probably thought it was going to happen. And so I was expecting something super jarring when Caldor came, but it really wasn't.
Yeah, Caldor was
as much
awesome,
as I thought it was, and it ended up working out really well. So it's been great. It's a different style, like you said, but it's not less enjoyable.
I'm glad you like it.
Yeah. So this last weekend for EU, we had some big games.
Mm-hmm.
Some really big games. Gizmo, Multi, did you guys get a watch some of the EU stuff?
I have not.
I at least caught the Team Liquid games, and man, both cases were well worth the show. I'll say that much. And not exactly what I expected in either case. But honestly, I kind of was rooting for Fnatic and Dignitas in both scenarios just because they were slightly the underdog, at least based on record. But yeah, I don't know. Do you want to just announce what happened?
Yeah, so Team Liquid 10-0. Going into this weekend. Trikslyr, you want to just kind of, because both these game series, I think, are VODs that are worth going back and watching.
Yeah, you should definitely check them out. If you don't want to be spoiled, turn off the podcast now, because I'm about to spoil it. So you got 3 seconds, 1, 2, 3, and spoiled. So Team Liquid was 10-0 going into the weekend. They were by far the favorites. They started to look a little bit off in the last couple of weeks of the HGC. After week 5, there was a Western Clash, and they didn't win the Western Clash. Dignitas did. And ever since then, they just seemed a little bit shaky. The week before, they had a really strong showing before going into the weekend. So it's like, all right, Team Liquid is maybe back at their prime. They've got the meta figured out. Fnatic's hungry for a victory. And Dignitas, the Western Clash champions, you can't count them out. And Team Liquid had to face both of the top 3 in one weekend, which is a hard freaking weekend.
That's rough. That's
insanely hard. Team Liquid, sadly, on Friday, lost to Fnatic. And then Sunday, they lost to Dignitas, 3-2, both ways. And it was such a heartbreaking loss, but it was also a very exciting one. Going into next week now, we probably have the most critical week of HGC that you will possibly see for this first phase. If Fnatic wins, they take over first place. If Dignitas wins, we go into the oddest set of tiebreakers that I can possibly imagine, which is freaking exciting. Like, I actually cannot wait for this weekend, simply because of how strong Fnatic and Dignitas looked over the last weekend. And after talking to Team Liquid, they're getting over their losses, and they're a little bit upset about it, but they are hungry, and they want to perform, because that's been the problem with Team Liquid, is when it actually matters, they don't deliver a victory. And so all these storylines are starting to bubble up. And then on top of that, you have the bottom 2. B Genius, who was a team that was 0-11, finally won their first freaking game.
Finally got their first win.
And it was against the Playing Ducks, who's a team that was probably mid-tier at best, but they're okay with being mid-tier. They want to evolve and become a better team in the next phase. And B Genius comes out and just shuts them down. And it was the most happy moment, I think, for everyone that was watching the broadcast, because Danatan came afterwards, and I don't want to spoil the interview, but you should really watch it if you get a chance. The guy was almost in tears.
And they did it 3-1, right? If I remember correctly. It was fairly convincing. It wasn't just like a 3-2 barely winning.
And it's funny because they were like, we asked what happened, and they go, oh, we role swapped. And we're like, why didn't you role swap like 5 weeks earlier? You guys are failing every match. Because like this team looked completely different, and it's suddenly like this team could possibly be eliminated because they are effectively in the Crucible, period.
Yeah.
They've already lost enough games.
Right.
And what we saw last Sunday is a team that we don't want to see not in the ACC because they were that coordinated.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's really awesome. It's so cool to see a little bit of shakeup in the bottom, especially coming up and I think in a lot of ways the teams, that's the mindset, right? Is oh crap, the Crucible is coming up. We could literally get kicked out.
Yeah,
We
the
need to
genius
do
of the
whatever we
Crucible,
can.
the genius, honestly, is that it makes watching the bottom interesting. Like, these are
Yeah.
matches that you could otherwise just gloss over, but I mean, just knowing that they're on the chopping block, sometimes it's making these teams just fight with their hearts.
Yeah, shout out
Just
to
saying.
Milk Fat and CSD. They really wanted to make sure that every match counted. And as we get to week 8, week 9, they are starting to count, and it's just so
Yeah.
exciting. Every team has a storyline. Like, there's no team that you can look at and I can say, oh, I got nothing for them. Like, there's something for every team in the top 8.
Sure.
It's so cool.
Sure. So speaking of the Crucible, let's talk that first. So and I'm sure you keep up with the NA side, of course, some too, and the EU side especially. From an NA and EU perspective, who is it looking like we're going to see hitting this Crucible at this point?
Naventic from North America is a sure bet, I believe.
I think they were
They're
either
close.
super close or a sure one.
Yeah, they're super close. And then over on EU, there is for sure a B Genus happening. And then it comes down to the wire synergy isn't quite there, but they are really looking like they'll be there. I think it's like 98.9%. The only other team that could possibly fall into it is the Playing Ducks if they really screw up and Synergy starts winning all their matches. And Synergy faces Dignitas, I think, this weekend.
Ooh,
So yeah,
Oh, yeah.
rough.
it's a hard one for them, that's for sure. So I'm sad because of the Crucible. This is where, again, the Crucible is a really genius thing because I love Synergy to death. They're a team that like plays my style of Heroes of the Storm, which is like full aggression, getting in your face, trying to punish you for every little mistake.
Mhm.
And then they always make one mistake into the game. Every freaking time, dude. It's like clockwork. So you have to keep up an eye for them. And then if this new B Genus lineup starts to be really good, it's going to be exciting to watch. For North America, Naventic, and then who was the other one? Is it Team Freedom that's having a hard time?
Freedom's
In No
fairly
Tomorrow.
low. No Tomorrow.
No Tomorrow,
and,
yeah.
yeah. No Tomorrow
Yeah.
and Freedom and Naventic, I think, are the bottom 3. Superstars, I think, is going unless they do really bad, I think is fairly safe.
They should be fine. They've always been a team that's been in the middle of the pack, and they've been consistent players for years. Like, they should
Yeah.
make it to the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I think the biggest surprise for me, because Europe is kind of shaping up how I thought it would go. We have our 3 top teams that we thought those 3 were going to be there. North America has been super crazy because we figured Tempo Storm would be fairly high.
Yeah.
Figured Gale Force would probably be pretty high. But I don't think anyone, if you went back to the beginning of the season and I said Naventic is a shoe-in for the Crucible, I don't think
Right.
anyone would have guessed that.
Yeah,
No.
Nor would we have guessed how well Team 8 would do necessarily either.
for sure.
Yeah, they kind of swapped a little bit. Teammate was probably and I hate to say this sounds mean, but I don't know of another word. They were probably the joke team of North America.
Well,
where
they kind of were.
Yeah, everyone considered them to be online
Chu
warriors.
had just put it together as
And then bailed on it.
yeah, and I mean I don't blame him necessarily.
No,
for
no,
doing
not at
that, just from a monetary perspective, but they did not have a good start. let's say it like that. They didn't have a good start when
And
they
their free agent, Prismatic,
Yeah.
who came in, was someone that had harsh criticism. Like, he's someone that played wacky heroes, was good online, but the moment you put him in a LAN, he just choked every single time. And the kid came in and delivered. Like,
yeah.
this is a team that is ran by Glarong, who, when I started playing Heroes a couple years ago, was the youngest pro, and he's now leading a team and is in 3rd place.
Mhm.
Now, they've had a rocky last couple of weeks, but they seem to be getting their juice back.
And it sounded like, and Glaurung talked about that, I think, a little bit in his interview too, because he had taken 2 weeks off, and he was talking about that they had a little catching up to do, and they did have a really rough first few weeks coming back. They looked a little better this last weekend, which was good. And I've been really impressed with Glau, not only that he's kind of risen from super young pro player to kind of team leader role now, that he's really refined his play style a lot too.
Yeah, and I also like how he's gotten so much better as a spokesperson for his team. He used to get himself in trouble a lot with just spouting nonsense BM or trying to start fights or arguments because he thought he was doing it right. Like you get a lot of attention for that, right? You get people looking at you when you kind of pop off a little bit. And he's now become someone that has grown and matured, which is great. What is he, like 17 now? And you put him on a camera, and the guy will say the right thing every single time. Like, he is a soundbite machine. So I know we're kind of stroking teammate a little bit here on the hardcore side, but they're definitely a team that you have to keep an eye out for.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. What do you think, just in your opinion, what do you think happened to Niantic? Like, they went from literally like the top NA team, and now they are the bottom, and they've only got one win to their name? Two wins to their name.
Yeah. I'm not the North America expert. I will say that I feel like there are some players that underperform on that team, but I think there's also probably some communication issues, because when they're on point, they are on point, and it kind of looks like they could be a team that's dominant again, and they just fall flat. There's probably some kind of tilt that's going on there, because all those players personally, individually, can be pretty skillful when they actually practice and go in for the moment. Like Tomster in particular, I think that guy is incredibly
he's great.
Good.
Yeah,
he's super quiet, but whenever you actually get him in a one-on-one scenario, he's a wonderful guy, and he puts out the numbers, and he understands the game to a heavy level. It just seems like the team just isn't coming together on how to play the game, and that just made them lose so often.
I mean, for all the crap, too, that we give Zuna, he's an exceptional player. He really is.
Oh, yeah.
He's an extremely talented dude. But he has to have a team that can play with him, I think. It was kind of like almost old Glaurung, where when Glau was on and his team was playing the aggressive style that he played with him, they went crazy. But if the team wasn't on the same page, then he would just die every single time, and it would hurt the team quite a bit. And that's kind of how I've seen Zuna.
To point out, like, that's something that can be fixed by getting a team that surrounds you and you all play the game in a similar fashion. I mean, look at Blumby in Europe. He was somebody that nobody wanted to play with because he was super hyper aggressive, and now he's on one of the best teams in the league. Was number one for a while, just because Team Liquid built around him, and they all believed in the ideas. You know, that's the best part about playing this game as a team. Like, if you ever at home seriously have the chance to grab 4 other friends and actually want to try hard for a couple weeks, like, you can make major progress and see the game in a different light, which is why it's so fun to watch at a competitive level.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, it makes me, after HGC, it just makes me want to play Team League with 4 other people, and because that's the pinnacle of Heroes. You and 4 other friends talking on comms, and just playing the game. And so let's to kind of wrap things up a little bit. Speaking of the pro side, what should we be looking for in the mid-season brawl? Because this is coming up really quick.
Some awesome heroes. Like,
yes.
The Western Clash and the Eastern Clash, we're excited to watch. You got to see the best in the West compete. We saw Europe walk away with the victory with Dignitas, and then the Eastern Clash, you saw L5 walk away. And now we get all of the teams, the best from every single region, all competing in a long tournament format, which is going to be a tiring week, but it's going to be an exciting week. All the regions are going to clash: China versus America, EU versus Korea, and everything in between. SEA, the smaller regions coming in. We get to see A and Z again, which was so excited to see the Western Clash.
Awesome.
Yes.
In the Western. Like, holy crap.
Yeah.
Like, it's seriously, if you have the time to take off for that week, watch it, man. Like, it's probably the best time. You know, you have all these teams that haven't matched up against each other in a few months, and you get to watch them clash, which is pretty freaking cool.
That's sweet. So, from an EU caster perspective, how do you rate the chances for your EU boys coming into this? Because it's two teams from each region, right?
You're putting me on the spot, man.
I know.
I'm like this adopted EU caster that's barely making it, and you're like, hey, betray your EU friendly people that are barely accepting you. I mean, you have to look at results, man. L5 is absolutely ridiculous. MVP Black, I'm sorry,
They're pretty
L5.
crazy.
L5 didn't win the Eastern Clash. I'm sorry, they got in the finals. It's MVP Black that actually won.
Yeah.
But L5's been insane in the league. My apologies on that before I get yelled at. But I mean, Korea has been outstanding for the last year and a half, right?
Yeah.
I think if there is any time for EU to make a stand and get the win, it's now. I don't know.
I mean,
if
they
we'll
looked
see it.
great in the Western Clash, though, right?
They
I
did.
mean,
Yeah,
EU dropped all of what, like 2 games,
yeah.
just
It's-
over
yeah.
the entirety of the Western. That's insane.
I think
Well,
a
they
lot
were
of
against
players will always tell
Oh.
you that it's all about understanding the meta. And if EU comes in and they feel confident with the meta and what they want to play, they'll put a heck of a showing on. There's always Fnatic that is a team that will light up. But then again, there's always Dignitas too, who always shows up at a match. So I don't know. We'll see. That's the question, right? I think
Yeah.
I think everyone at home wants to see the Western sides beat the Eastern side. It's just so long, so far in so many esports, Korea just dominates.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool to see that maybe that could happen here.
Sure. And I mean, Dignitas has that reputation of the come from behind when it counts. Like the last matches of the Western Clash, when they just went the Stitches, Tyrande, just craziness,
Mm-hmm.
was
Oh, yeah.
so cool to watch. And it's so frustrating, I'm sure, for Fnatic as well, because they came in there super pumped up, and then it's just like, what is going on with this? But it's the same with Fnatic too. I mean, I was at BlizzCon, all of us were at BlizzCon last year when Fnatic took down MVP Black
Yeah.
in
Oh, yeah.
like some of the best matches heroes I've ever seen. And being in the crowd, maybe that like biases me some, because the energy there was just absolutely insane.
Well, but the energy of the crowd was biased toward them too. I mean,
It's true.
Maybe it's just because the other regions are slightly underdogs to Korea, or maybe it's just because we were in a Western region. But either way, I mean, it's not like we weren't happy for Korea when they won. But at the same time, yeah, I'm kind of with you. I'm hoping we see some Western or EU representation here coming up.
Yeah, for sure.
And that boss fight between Fnatic and MVP
Oh my gosh.
Ballistics.
On
whatever.
Warhead?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, never
yes.
forget that. All right, so it is time to go ahead and hop into discussing the Robot Ninja here. So let's get into
Hero of the Week.
Oh, I still hate that you guys made me keep that. So this week we're discussing Genji, which of course entered the Nexus with 2.0. And as I stated when I tried him out at the summit, I was god awful with them. But alas, thanks to me being a jerk and smurfing, my confidence is renewed, and I have been testing out this build that Trick provided for us. And I'm digging it, Trick. I really am digging it. So before we hop into the build itself, let's go ahead, just do a quick rundown of what his abilities are, in case you guys have not played him for some reason.
Can we say first of all though that he's not a robot ninja? He
yeah,
actually is a man. He's
it
just
is.
got like a lot of robot parts.
It's a cyborg.
Kinda like- yeah, there you go.
Cyborg.
He's like a nice Darth Vader with real swords.
He's half robot.
yeah.
A nice
What?
Darth Vader. with
Pretty
swords.
close to
Swords.
Darth Vader. Like,
in that they're both cyborg, like mostly robot people.
guy.
Just go with me on this one.
Okay, all right. Confirmed.
All right. So for his combat trait here, we got Cyber Agility. It's 10-second cooldown. Activate to jump to the targeted area. This can jump over terrain and other obstacles. It is incredible. His Q is I'm gonna say this wrong. Shuriken.
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 Sure, it can.
Sure, it can. And it can. It's on a 12-second cooldown, 15 mana, and it has you throw 3 shuriken in a spread pattern, each dealing 67 damage. First enemy hit.
Shurikai.
Sure. Don't stop. You're gonna make me. I have it. Shuriken, and I'm gonna miss it now.
Is it shrieking?
No.
I'm confused.
It has 3 charges. On the 12-second cooldown, it restores all 3 charges. So make sure you use those before you lose them. Deflect on his W, 16-second cooldown, 70 mana. Channel for 1.25 seconds, becoming protected and blocking damage. Any damage while blocked channeling causes Genji to throw a kunai toward the nearest enemy, and it prioritizes heroes. His E, Swift Strike, 75 mana.
Wait. We need to make a distinction on deflect that some people do not understand, and I want to set the record straight. This is a channeled ability.
Yeah,
It's channeled. It's not like Varian's shield wall. It can get interrupted, and people don't play him like that. You can go in and you can already. I'm going to deflect everything. Then Uther goes, nope.
Yep.
Stun.
that is
So it's channeled.
very good point. I had not realized that, but that's because
Makes sense, though.
Gizmo doesn't like.
Did
rolling
you
things
just
all the way.
wink? It looked like you did.
I always wink.
When I blink with one eye. I can't blink with both eyes.
right.
Swift Strike on his E, 12-second cooldown, dash forward long ways, dealing damage to all enemies in a line. If you kill the enemy that you hit within 2 seconds, Swift Strike cooldown resets and the mana, which is neat. His heroic abilities here, Dragon Blade, of course, which you know from Overwatch. You unleash the Dragon Blade for 8 seconds. While active, it can be reactivated to lunge forward and slash in a huge arc. If enemy heroes are killed within 2 seconds, Swift Strike's cooldown is reset. Again, that's 50 mana on an 80-second cooldown. And then the most anime ability we have in the game, X Strike, which is 90 mana, 80-second cooldown. Perform 2 slashes, dealing damage. Then the slashes detonate after 1.25 seconds, causing additional damage to enemies within their area. Amazing looking ability.
Oh yeah.
And also,
Very cool.
I'm still trying to figure out the casting on it is very interesting.
It is a little different, but
As far
Are you talking about targeting it?
Yeah, the targeting is interesting. I've kind of gotten to the point where I just aim for the middle. And
Yeah, so you are middle, and then you try to set up like the angle on the right side.
is there a way to control the angle, or is it it's just from wherever you're casting it from?
Yeah, it's whenever you cast it and where you're facing.
So I kind of wish it
So
was
in
the
that way you
vector
can affect it.
targeting like some of the other abilities are. Would be
It's definitely a higher skill ability, I think, than just slashing everything with your Dragon Blade.
I feel like you died to the
some
Dragon
good-
Blade,
Yeah.
and you're like, these guys aren't skilled. This is unfair. Ryan over here throwing fits.
All right, so
I think there's some skill to the Dragon Blade, but we can get to that later on.
yeah.
For sure.
I can't use that thing in Overwatch. Every time I use it, just insta death.
Yep.
Before we get into the build here, Trick, first off, how are you liking Genji? You've been
So I've dabbled in him slightly. The first day he came out, I spammed him for like 12 games straight, unless he was banned in Hero League, and I dropped my MMR down to Diamond 5, so that was pretty cool. But I did come away with this build and some thoughts on him. I think he's actually a pretty solid counter mage hero, with this build in particular that I've ran. This isn't the build that the pros have been running in, but you guys will see that in the future. They actually run Dragon Blade and a little bit more different stuff. I like running E variations with Dragon Strike, and oddly enough, the ability Dragon Claw, which is where when you deflect a certain amount of damage, eventually you get this ability to slash around you for area effect damage, which has been pretty exciting. And then I grab the level 7 Cyber Shield so I can get spell armor. I think I like this build. I don't know if you guys played League, but there was a character named Fizz that I liked a lot. And one of my favorite moves was Title Trickster, which allowed for you to literally become invincible and dodge abilities. And this kind of gives me that feeling to where, like, if I know a mage is about to blow me up, I can get spell armor, and then I can dodge their abilities with X Strike, and I can punish them heavily. And so I've been running with that with Genji and trying to get those resets and pulling it off. I do think he requires a hefty amount of setup to be effective in fights. So you need to be coming in for ganks, or you need to have someone like a Void Prison or a Kerrigan combo, or even Li Ming to open up fights and put damage on people so you can start getting those resets and going in.
Yeah.
But when you do that, it feels incredibly fun. I think he feels incredibly clean to play.
Yeah, he really does. And it's I was kind of wondering how such a high mobility character would translate over to heroes, if it would feel too OP. But it does feel really nice, and they did a nice job balancing his damage output to kind of control that here. And I have been having a ton of success using him as kind of a counter to Li Ming, which feels really nice there. But let's go ahead and get on into the build here. So for level 1 here, Trikslyr, you have Swift as the Wind. And
Yeah.
it's good. So I started picking this after you put it, and this is, again, me because I don't read things correctly. I had always just done Agile Dismount because I saw the cooldown is reduced by 5 seconds. However, I've discovered I'm fairly certain that cooldown is only reduced by 5 seconds if you Agile or Cyber Agility off of the mount. It's not just like
so you
5
have to be
second
mounted.
cooldown.
Yes.
Yep.
It's supposed to be full anime talent.
Yeah.
I actually started picking that up too because I thought it would be cool to ride into battle and shred people down. The main issue I ran into is when I wanted to fight, I was always demounted because I was already in the middle of the fight. So I didn't get much value off of it. I do think it works on smaller maps like 2-Man Spider Queen where you're mounting and rotating between lanes, but 2-Man Spider Queen is not in the map pool right now. So I haven't got much play with it. Swift as the Wind is just easy understanding. You hit it at an easy target and you get movement speed. And I feel like movement speed advantage on this character is so valuable.
Well, because a lot of the times you're trying to get more auto attacks in as you're chasing, or
Mhm.
I mean, it helps you escape naturally if you're in those situations as well. So yeah, I mean, I would find myself dashing behind a target maybe with a swift strike, and then easily being able to follow like a chromie or something and just stomp them. You know, so
Yeah.
I to me it's the obvious pick, but yeah.
Okay. Level 4 here, we're going with Dragon Claw. This is another one. I picked this a few times when 2.0 launched, and I didn't like it a whole lot because I just wasn't effective at getting the charges. But really, it's just, especially going against the Mage comps, Li Ming, or Kel'Thas, learning when to use your deflect can get this thing charged easy, and it's just a nice burst to if your dash isn't enough to finish off or get in there. So, is there anything?
I like Shuriken Mastery.
Yeah,
personally.
Shuriken Mastery is a go-to for a lot of players, and it makes sense. It's like it's extra damage, all that fun stuff. The cooldowns are always great. You get the refunds when you use Cyber Agility. I just picked up Dragon Claw initially just with the idea of, okay, I dash in, I drop Dragon Claw, I drop X-Strike to dodge an ability, and I kill somebody. And it works out, but I do agree that it is kind of hard to actually get that talent finished, and I might start switching over to Shuriken Mastery.
Okay. I've been enjoying Strike at the Heart just because I've been focusing more on the E, which adds 143 additional damage over 2 seconds at the end, the very tail end of your Swift Strike. But while I do enjoy that, I have been having better luck with Dragon Claw there.
I do like Dragon
one-
Claw. It's just kind of fun too, just to have that extra ability, and I love the animation behind it.
One thing with Dragon Claw is, and this is just like from a visual standpoint. Sometimes it's hard to see when it's done.
Yes.
Yeah.
You can see the progress bar on the icon as
When it
it's
gets
growing.
When it
Close,
gets
though.
close.
Yeah,
It's
There's a sound
very
effect
difficult.
that you have to train yourself to listen for.
It's-
Now there's actually a sound effect that completes it.
I think it needs to go to a different color or something, though, because even
Or,
like if there's a long pause,
light up the edges or something.
yeah, it flashes a little bit, like it pulses. But if there's like a, you get this charged and there's a, 45 seconds before your next team fight or whatnot, I'll forget. In the first couple times I picked this, like I was jumping in, spamming my one. I was like, why the heck isn't this working? And I thought it was bugged, but sure enough, I just didn't
Wasn't
have like
fully
10
charged.
points
Yeah.
charged. Yeah. Level 7 here, you picked up a Cyber Shield, which you kind of talked about that for the anti-mage and whatnot. What do you like going if you're not necessarily going against mage heavy?
I've also ran Perfect Defense a little bit. Damage deflect reduces the cooldown by deflect for 2 seconds up to a maximum of 10. So if you just get like a major auto attacker that someone's hitting you pretty aggressively, Perfect Defense can be solid. It does require perfect timing, hence the name Perfect Defense. But it feels pretty good to have that set up, especially if you're like diving behind a fort.
Yeah, that's the one I like quite a bit.
Yep.
Oh, and diving behind a fort, super fun.
Yeah,
It
man.
is. There's
It hurts
nothing
so
like the
much,
feeling.
though. Yeah, go
Oh,
ahead.
Oh, I said there's nothing like the feeling of getting the E over, killing the person, popping your deflect
And dashing
on
back.
the tower shot, and then Eing out.
Yep.
And then there's the other side of that sword where you dash in and they get a heal at the last second, and you're just sitting there like, all right,
And I'm dead.
Please die.
Or you pull off the kill, but your deflect isn't up, so you dash out, and a tower shot follows you all the way
All
back.
the way back.
All the
I
way back.
was killed.
Level 10 here, you do have us go an X Strike, which I I think this is really good kind of balancing between two ultimates that they've done. Of course, we have the heroes where it's more one-sided. The X-Strike I love on capture point maps, anything that's going to cause a cluster, but it is definitely harder to perform necessarily.
Depends, honestly. If there's a comp that could really stand up to your Dragon Blade really well, then that could be really hard to perform too in its own way.
Yeah, well, even just the hitting, like it's good. Like Zagara Maul, I've been seeing a ton of Zagaras lately. Is a great setup for it.
I think it lets you
burst.
target down. The main reason why I pick it though is for one, the mobility is helpful when you do burn all your cooldowns and you get wrecked. Like if you have to escape, you can use it. But the invincibility frames is what's so fantastic about it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
If you have an Uther charging you and you know that mofo is about to stun you and drop the Divine Storm, you just walk forward, you bring up the auto attack, and right before the animation cancels, you drop your X, and you literally break through it. He misses out on the stun. You punish with damage, and then your team comes in and follows up, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah, and that's the thing about Dragon Blade, right? Is you have to have the right team that can support you using Dragon Blade, because Genji is not a very sturdy hero. He's very, very squishy, and your deflect is on like a 16-second cooldown, so it's not something you can hit. It's 1.25 seconds. It's not that long. And with Dragon Blade, you have to be up in their faces, so you have to make sure when you pick that ult that your team can follow up or in some ways be shielding you or healing you as you're, because it does a ton of damage. It really does. Oh, yeah. But it puts you in a very, very precarious spot.
Uther's Divine Shield with that, super fun.
Yeah.
You haven't tried that yet.
Yes.
Divine Shield into Dragon Claw and then Divine or into X Strike is literally just team wipe. Like you just destroy
I
people.
see that too, yeah.
Okay.
Very cool.
Level 13 here, Flow Like Water, which is each enemy hero hit with Swift Strike reduces cooldown by 3 seconds. So,
yeah, I just like this because if you hit two heroes, you take your cooldown, I believe it's 12 seconds on your dash, down to 6, just instantly. So you can use it as actual harass after hitting level 13. And it actually becomes pretty strong with level 16 talent. Well, the one that I pick is Final Cut, but I've been messing with Steady Blade more lately for the extra damage. So if you start to get kills, you can literally just start resetting a fight quicker than Li Ming. If you're able to hit 2 to 3 people, you set yourself up well, you position great, and then you bring out that Steady Blade, you just destroy team fights.
Okay. Fair enough. Yeah, and then as you said here, Final Cut, that's kind of what I've been going to, just because I don't, and it's just a transition I need to make as far as I kind of save it as a finisher or for movements instead of, I just don't have the mindset of setting it up for the extra damage going through there.
Yeah, so as mentioned, I've been going Steady Blade more as of late, but I think Final Cut is actually insane against the Vikings if you want easy resets. Like, you literally pick that talent and you one-shot Eric or Balog as you walk through. So, pretty destructive at that point.
Okay. Very nice. And then 20 here, Living Weapon. And, so this is the X-Strike augmentation here for each enemy hero hit by X-Strike reduces cooldown by 12 seconds. So that can potentially, if you have a nice setup, team setup and stuff, get that on a nice short cooldown.
Yeah, I think this one I just picked because it was fun. But I think the competitive one that we're going to go with is probably Sharpened Stars. Just being able to pierce and hit targets that group up is just way too easy to pull off. It's basically the same thing as the level 20 auto attack from Grey Mane, which is a just go-to. Like the other Storm talents don't even compete. Just having splash damage and the ability to pierce through your opponents it's so great.
Yeah,
and that's one of the reasons Shuriken Mastery might show up quite a bit too. Is if that becomes the go-to 20 talent, you're gonna want to augment your Shuriken damage, and then once you hit 75, then you can Cyber Agility and get 2 more.
Yeah.
So it becomes extremely strong with the combo.
And TBK, since I know you like on the Shuriken Mastery and stuff here, at 13, do you still go with mobility, or are you going with the Shingen for it, kind of the shotgun build?
I really like Flow Like Water too, honestly, just because that E is so it's such an integral part of his kit, and it just allows for so many plays. Shingen, like it's it's really good, but it is very hard to hit someone with all 3 stars unless you're like sitting on top of them.
Which you have to be. That's why you kind of alluded to it being the shotgun build.
Yeah.
I think it's a fun play style. I've actually picked Shingen a lot myself. And another kind of hidden feature of it is that it destroys towers and that sort of thing, because you just walk up to a wall, just smack it a few times. It makes him help out with the jungle a little bit better. And I mean, if you can close the gap on a Chromie or something, get a few Shingen shotgun shots off on her, she's done, man. I actually like it quite a bit. I've not played with Flow with Like Water as much, but
Okay.
Yeah, big fan.
All right. So, Trick, now we've kind of gone through the build here. What's your expectations for him coming into HGC? Do you think he's going to have any impact? The mobility is kind of take over, and his finishing ability, counter to mages, things like that.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I think anything that has high mobility is super helpful. It mostly comes down to locking down targets and getting the damage in. I do think there is a good case for if you start winning a team fight, Genji can pretty much close it down with proper support. And that is always good in pro settings where you get snowball compositions and run them. So, yeah, we could definitely see him pulled in. If anything, maybe his damage might need to go up a little bit more for pro play, but we'll see. Again, Dragon Blade, the ability to just get on a back line if they use cooldowns and just kill somebody is such a strong trait. And I can imagine Uther with Divine Shields or even aggressive Lucio plays being an easy pull-off for Genji players.
Yeah. And as you alluded, we're probably going to see a lot of Uther in the coming weeks.
Strong possibility. Double support, he's pretty strong. I think he's still kind of meh on solo support. He does bring in some pretty frustrating moments with the ability for him to put armor everywhere. And if you are not watching his talent choices, you can get punished heavily, like his level 7 talent, where if he gets rooted, his cooldown just start popping out like crazy. Ugh. That's to deal with.
That one is the one I've seen a lot of people complaining about as being just insanely strong. And a lot of times, too, I've started to see Uther running in double supports Divine Storm.
Yeah.
I can see it.
Yeah,
extra wombo. Extra
coming
setup.
back, dude.
Good old.
Yeah, I know.
Good
Good old Divine Storm. Remember back? I guess it was probably super early on when Divine Storm was slightly bigger, but then the upgrade to it made it like a fourth of screen size.
And he had Sprint, so he could die, Sprint, and Divine Storm you.
Yep. That was silly. That was back when Uther could use all of his abilities in Ghost form, which people purposefully died and then just ran up. It's like, well, can't do anything to me. I can stun you, and then Divine Storm, and you're dead.
Good times.
Good times.
Yeah, so, and you brought up a good point here with us being in the double support meta. I think that could make Genji suffer a little bit just because he doesn't have the burst damage necessarily. So the fact that if you're running 2 support, not having the initial
Makes
damage to the team fight, to get people down. Not only that, and then if they have 2 support, it's a shorter window for you to go in and finish somebody.
That said, the meta shifts, and I mean Genji's in the game permanently. So if the meta shifts to like a really mage backline heavy setup, then yeah. And I mean he's such a high skill cap hero. I would think that in HGC, where we've got high skill, they'd get the most out of it. Hopefully.
All right.
I do have a good story.
Go for it.
We were playing Team League on Saturday, and somehow, thank the Blizzard matchmaking gods, we played against Psalm's Team League team. And of course, as you know right now, or if you follow him on Twitter, Psalm is one trick Genjiing right now. And so he Genji'd, and it was very painful. It was a very painful game.
Ouch.
It was a little bit of a demoralizing game, but we got to see some really cool Genji play. So
it's out there.
There's that.
That Team League matchmaking is super great right now. All right. So do you have any last minute tips? Somebody who hasn't tried out Genji, maybe wanting to get in there, like a main thing to look for in their first couple games or concentrate on?
Yeah, don't be afraid to dive in and make mistakes. Genji's going to be a character that is literally on the razor edge of battles, and you will fail sometimes, but you will also make epic plays. Do realize, though, when you are feeding to calm it down and work with your team. But other than that, get in there and make a mess of people.
For sure. Any tips from you, TBK or Multi?
Calm it down. He's cool. You want to dash in and cut people, right? That's the whole plan. Just dash in. No, seriously. My tip would be just get a feel for how he harasses in like the early game and stuff. I mean, obviously, I just kind of joked about dashing in whenever the heck you want, but knowing the exact moment when you want to use it offensively is kind of tough to do. It's super cool as an escape. I love just kind of hanging onto it in the early and mid game and just waiting for an escape, at least at my level. But man, I don't know, that you just have to feel out the way he moves, like the smoothness at which you're getting your auto attacks off, and just how to use and get the most out of deflect. Because honestly, it's like it is in Overwatch. If you throw the deflect up and no one hits you with anything, what have you really done other than blown a cooldown? So there's really a lot to it. And honestly, the best way is just to get in there and play him, because you're not going to fully get it until you do. He feels unlike any other hero, I think.
Yeah. Mine's going to kind of stack with Tricks here. Don't be discouraged after your first couple of games, because I super was.
Yeah.
I was awful with them. But that's because I was being super aggressive and getting in there and dying nonstop. But that's good to get in kind of and feel how squishy he is, because it's insane. And whenever to use your deflect or save it. And then after your first couple games, to kind of be patient, kind of sit back, poke a little bit, let your team.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You gotta, your team's gotta also work for you, to set you up there. And then, if you're not a skill shot person, practice your skill shots, because his dash is very, very narrow, but it is also very long. So, it's kind of finishing with that is the key to Genji. All right, let's go ahead here, TBK. What do you got for us in the community content shout out this week?
So this week, there's a really good Polygon article on how to take advantage or take the most advantage of the new Here's the Storm 2.0 loot system. It's extremely in-depth and actually a really good read. So definitely check that out if you get the chance, if you're looking to maximize your loot gains. Also, McIntyre from B-Step has updated his tier list as well as all of his builds for 2.0. And he's a pretty good player, and he's been keeping up with this tier list for quite some time, like the solo queue tier list. And going from a pro perspective, these tier lists are great for checking out when you want to see, like, who should I probably be playing in Hero League situationally, who's on top right now, who's going to help my team the most. And so he's got some builds. He's got the tier list you can go check out. Definitely worth your time to look at least. He does a really good job with those.
All right. Yeah, and it's always neat to see the tier lists and kind of builds of what some of the pro players are using there, as opposed to just using hot slogs and getting yourself caught up in that mess. It's not just good to go high percentage picks, people. Just use hot slogs as a reference. All right. We got a few emails this week. We're not going to be able to get to them all, but we can knock out one here real quick. I paused for a second there because I was trying to catch you again, Multi.
I remembered this time.
Yeah. All right. So why don't you go ahead and read off our question here from Captain Logan.
All right. So Captain Logan writes, and this is a good question. Should unranked draft be held to the same standards as ranked? I had a guy complaining about my poor tanking the other day. I was the last picked in the unranked draft mode, and no one had picked a warrior, so I went with Muradin because he's the safest tank in his opinion. I told the guy that if he expected great play to go to ranked, where there's a higher knowledge and gameplay expectation. So it's an interesting point. I honestly don't play too much unranked draft myself. I either kind of ranked it up or just hop in the quick match. But in my opinion, personally, I don't think it should be held to the same standard. If there's a place for you to experiment with new heroes or try out new roles, I mean, in my opinion, it's possibly the best one to do, especially because you also mix that with the actual draft format too. So I'd be interested to hear though, Trikslyr, are you with me on this one, or do you think he should just L2P?
This might be kind of mean, but screw that negative Nancy, man.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
Yeah, right.
Like, first off, if someone's like going off on you, the best thing you can do is respond back and say, "Hey, do you have any tips? Because I'm actually new." Like, let them know your situation, and if they keep going off, you mute them. Like, some people just don't have any patience, and you should at least give them the benefit of the doubt. Maybe drop out some conversations like, "Hey, after this match, if you want, I'm down to take information." If you're willing to be that kind of guy. If not, just ignore them. And I'm actually proud of you. Like, you were in a draft, and you needed a tank. You identified that, and you picked a tank. That's all your team can ask of you. Of course, you could probably play better. And all
that's
that
bonus
stuff.
points right there.
Yeah,
Instead of just taking something random.
Yeah, it makes me like angry. Like when people like yell at each other for doing bad plays and such. Like there are draft mistakes and things like that, but like you can't get upset at your teammate for trying their best when they filled in for a situation. Like, it's okay to be like, "Hey, you don't know what you're doing." And be like, "All right, yeah, I don't. Good to know. Thanks. Appreciate that." But Unranked Draft is that place for you to learn your heroes. And I don't know. Kudos to you, man. At least you pick your tank and you kept moving on. Ignore that guy and play another game.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it is unranked draft. So, yeah, like
It's meant to be a learning area.
Yeah.
Quick match, I don't consider. Quick match is a learning area to an extent, but I consider unranked probably the best learning area because you add in the drafting with it, and that's what Hero League is going to be. It's going to be the drafting portion as well. So, if you want to practice for ranked, which is normally what you want to do, quick match is not necessarily the best practice for ranked. Unranked draft will normally get you a legitimate team comp most of the time, and so that does help you prepare for the ranked play a lot better.
Yeah, it'll get you a legitimate comp most of the time thanks to people like you who kind of realize that's what it's for and you want an actual team comp. But yeah, for sure, because with the quick match, I use quick match to identify what heroes I'm wanting to take into Hero League potentially, and then going into unranked draft to simulate the decisions that I'm going to have to make and kind of test out the waters of, is this hero worth concentrating on putting in my pool? Am I going to get to play them enough? So yeah, good job for you. Brush it off. It's unfortunate that it happened, but I think that is probably a rare thing for unranked, and if it's not, well then F those guys.
Dang.
You do you.
Wow.
Savage. Laid it out there.
Savage. So Trick, two more tiny things for you before we wrap up. We had a question in Discord from My Everything. He says he doesn't know if this is an appropriate type of question, but of course it is. There's no bad questions, only bad answers.
There's no boundaries here.
But do you
told me
think
this before I came on the show?
you could have been no boundarying all show long? Do you think that Taste for Blood can compete with Sieging Wrath for dunk builds on Azmodan?
On Tomb of the Spider Queen, yes. Maybe there's a case if you get a Johanna Azul on Towers of Doom, if you're able to rotate between middle and bottom without being pushed in, and then on Blackheart's Bay. Other than that, Sieging Wrath is too easy to pull off and much more reliable. You need to hit a specific Taste for Blood stack by the 10 mark. I think you need to hit it's 80, if I remember correctly, so you can start one-shotting back lines for you to be effective. And if you don't, you just fall off really hard. You won't graph up. Yeah. So scaling can be difficult. With Tomb of the Spider Queen, Blackheart's Bay not being in the map rotation, the only map that I've had success with it is Towers of Doom, and even that is a stretch, and you're expecting your opponents not to hang with you. So it is difficult to pull off.
Yeah, for sure. And then also, because I love Bo and I love Nova, tell us why Nova on Hanamura is the best thing ever.
Dude, she's broken. So I think Nova on Hanamura is absolutely ridiculous. Once you get your level 7 power spike, one in the chamber, you actually put out a massive amount of damage, which on a map where you're scrimming a lot can be pretty effective. And the thing that is her problem is that she has no escapes and that she can't handle poke well because she can't sustain.
Mm-hmm.
But with your Bribe talent at level 4, you can farm minions if you need stacks, or you can farm opposing heroes, which is my favorite way to get stacks. Mm-hmm. And literally go to the side camps, and these big, massive warriors that are a pain to kill you take them with one bribe stack and you get a healing item. And the healing item is AoE for your team. So now you have sustain suddenly, and you have a hero that puts out massive damage. And I've actually been running triple tap in a place where there's no walls to block triple tap. So you get guaranteed damage if you aim it for a high health target on somebody, even if their opponent like stacks it. I think she's absolutely ridiculous. I think right now I am currently 12-1 with her on Hanamura in High Diamond Master League. So I've had moments where we've been behind. We've had comebacks. I've had moments where we stopped forward. Like, she has the tools, if you run the map correctly, to actually be a major pain.
Okay.
Yeah, I love that sometimes maps can unlock character potential that didn't exist before.
Yeah, like,
which is really cool.
Whining about Asmodean on that battleground because his entire concept is to sit in one lane, queue into the fights, and then also to put his trait in the bottom lane or whatever lane they're not in, and you eventually just wear your opponent down. But, and this is going to sound weird, I grab Nova, and then I grab Precision Strike, and every time I see his trait, which it's one Precision Strike for every 2 of his traits, you just clear the wave with Precision Strike, and you keep fighting, and you win the team fight. And Asmodean does nothing. I don't know, man. I think she's sleeper strong.
Okay.
Yeah. And bribe is very undervalued on that map too.
It's
like I think it's getting up there though. Quickly.
Yeah, the medic camps are. People are starting to realize that you take those every time. You can't. They're worth so much XP, and that healing is absolutely insane. Absolutely insane.
So if you see this in pro play, please make sure that you guys post everywhere that I came up with the concept and that I think it's a god. Thank you very much.
Does the payload block triple tap?
No, nothing. Literally nothing blocks it. I think maybe the turret item it can, but it's such a small health bar and small area that I doubt like people are gonna dodge it. Like,
because the whole middle of the map is completely open.
Yeah.
There is unless you're triple tapping close to the enemy's buildings, there's literally nowhere to go.
Which you won't be because you're so far from the walls as you're doing the scrims in the middle over the payload. So I like that.
Okay. Fair enough. Multi, you also have the winner for your Elite Loot Chest contest.
That's right, I do. We had a channel open up on our Discord that was specifically for posting your Elite Loot Chests, and even though the contest is done, you can still post them in there. I'm going to keep throwing junk up there if I get some cool chests. So, but I do have to say the winner is going to go to Coldam because, as I was looking through them, when a person had a really impressive like common loot chest or really anything with just the 4 tokens, as opposed to the 5 and the veteran ones, I was a bit more impressed by those because it's just less likely for you to get 2 legendaries and that sort of thing. But Coldam still kind of won with his veteran chests because he had 2 vet chests, each with 2 legendaries in them, and all of those were incredibly awesome. Like I think either of these chests would have won it for me. We've got the Twilight Archangel Diablo and Mecha Dahaka in one, and then in the other one, Judgment Uther, which is just one of my favorite skins of the game, tier 2, represent, and then Genji himself as a hero. So either of those probably would have won, and the fact that he got both is kind of a clear winner to me. So congrats, Coldam. I'll be messaging you tomorrow for your prizes. It's going to be fun.
All right, and while you're at it, why don't you go ahead and tell people where we can be reached?
Oh, we can be found in-game by typing /join space LOTS, or you can join our Discord, which I just talked about. There's a link to that in our show notes, and also at the top of our Twitter, @Lords of the Storm. We're also on twitch.tv/Lords of the Storm, live Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. Central. And we're also on Facebook.com/Lords of the Storm podcast. You can send us any feedback or questions at lordsofthestorm@outlook.com. And if you want to help out the show, there's a couple ways to do it. You could leave us a positive review out there, iTunes, Stitcher, whatever like that. And then if you really want to help out the show, we've got our Patreon, patreon.com/Lords of the Storm, where you can give any amount you deem appropriate for the services we provide.
Absolutely. You can also find us individually. You can find myself on Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, all those things at GizmoZord, as well as Tuesday nights, 9 p.m. 10 p.m. Central, my bad, on Convert to Raid Presents, the World of Warcraft podcast featuring all things Blizzard. Multi, where can you be found?
I'm on Twitter @Multizord, and I'm also have this sister show out there called The Cavalry I want to plug. And so I presume their next episode is going to be only about the Police Diva skin and just that. No other content. That's on Twitter @The Cavalry Show.
All right, TPK?
You can find me on Twitter at TBKZord and twitch.tv/TBKZord, where currently I'm doing Master's Class with Juki on Sunday nights, 7 Pacific, 9 Central, as we do replay analysis, map strategies, and some unranked drafting.
Very nice. And Trikslyr, where can the people on the interwebs and podcast land find you and all that you're up to?
You can find me on the internet.
Yep. Just go to Google, type in internet, and Trick is in like every single link there.
Jokes aside, I guess my main thing I normally plug is I'm trying to grow my stream and hopefully at some point become a professional full-time streamer with variety games and all that fun stuff. But if you want to catch Heroes of the Storm action, you can find me at twitch.tv/Trikslyr, TRIKSLYR. Yes, I know it's spelled weird. And that's where you can find me.
It's Trikslyr, not Trickslayer, right?
No, please don't even put that in people's heads.
But for real, if you guys haven't checked out his stream, definitely do it. He's one of my favorite streamers to watch. Love the variety of games you play. You almost got me back into H1Z1, but then good old PlayerUnknown Battleground came out, and I got sucked into that. So
that one's a good one. For some reason, I can't wrap my head around learning a new video game, so I'm stuck with my old school H1Z1. You kids and you learning these new games, man. Can't keep up with you.
All right, well,
also,
again,
his 24-hour streams are the best. I just want to shout out Just Dance for the best entertainment value for your dollars.
You'll be happy with the next emote that we're coming out. I got a dance emote coming.
I'm excited.
Oh boy.
Hey, and that's a great idea for a 24-hour stream. Gets you up out of your seat, moving around, dancing. So it's always good and fun to watch those 24-hour streams, especially for charities. But if you guys do them, please be careful. Eat, drink, and be safe.
Use the restroom.
Yes.
Probably.
The basics. Be a human being while doing 24-hour streams. Don't forget.
Well, thank you so much again for coming out here. Again, we've really been looking forward to have you on. It's glad to finally be able to snag you for this, and we really, really do appreciate it and wish you the best of luck here in your continued endeavors into casting and your streaming.
And we'll see you this weekend, Tim.
So kind. Thank you.
Thanks for coming, for sure.
We also want to give a special thanks to our patron producer, Mr. Ouroboros Zord, for helping support the show. Thanks to everyone in the chat room for coming out. We will see you all next week. Remember, if you have your fanfic, Trick, and Caldor artwork you want to send us now, make sure to tag Lords of the Storm in that on Twitter. We'll see you guys next week.
Why did you open this?
That's my problem with casting. We just say silly stuff. Like, it just comes out, and
I shall
like,
do
I'm just
no
learning
more.
improv just to go all the way with it, and it just gets me into really bad situations very often.
No, that's the way